right, we'll start over again. Good morning again, and thank you all for coming. This is a little different for an Ihry meeting. No coffee, no donuts, no cookies, and someplace Gary's shaking his fist at us, I'm sure, because it's not typical for us. But first of all, a couple different things. I want to welcome Whitney here from KRJB, who's recording this. This is actually being broadcast live, so be careful what you say. Comments will go out. And we are recording this. It will be available as a YouTube video, and we'll get those links out to you. You'll be able to access that 24/7. If you have a question, you want to re-watch this presentation, you can bring it up on your smartphone and at any time. So we'll get to that. So you're all YouTube stars after today, and you can go home and brag to your family. A little disclaimer, the information that we're going to be presenting this morning is our best interpretation of the rules and the policies from RMA that covers the procedures with regard to prevented planting. And we believe all the information we're going to give you this morning is accurate, but we always defer to your policy, so just want to keep that in mind. And then I want to make just a couple comments about Dropbox. A few weeks ago, you should have gotten, if we have your email address, you should have gotten an invite from us to join Dropbox, or at least download information. And if you already have a Dropbox account, you should have been able to just download that to your individual Dropbox. If you didn't have it, you could download that free. It's a free app. Or if you don't want Dropbox, you can still have access to the information. The only drawback to that is that you are, if you don't download Dropbox, the only disadvantage is you won't be able to send us information. It's only going to be a one-way street. So encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already. And if you don't have Dropbox, I want to encourage you to take a look at it. And I know you're not going to have time now probably for a couple weeks, hopefully. But when you get a chance, take a look at it. See what you think. Other than that, this is what you're going to see. Clark's got up on the screen from the invite and or on your Dropbox. There's information in the 2019 file. We haven't actually put anything in there yet for 2020, but we will be doing that. And then the 2020 planning tools, the information we're going to go over today, you're going to see some common questions regarding preventive planting, the planting dates for the different crops by county, and then rotational requirements too that you need to keep in mind for this spring. With that said, we're in a seeming never-ending wet cycle, and this has led obviously to a lot of questions about preventive planting, and we hope we can answer some of those for you here this morning. Clark, I'll turn it over to you.
I really don't have anything. I think you kind of covered everything that
Okay.
I was talking about, so I think
We'll jump right in. Nancy, come on down.
Guys, I don't like to talk, I don't like to be on the air, so again, just to remind everyone, we are live, we are on YouTube, so we'll be careful with some of your comments. Probably the most important thing this morning that I refer to many, many times is by the field, okay? I have examples of by the field on the screen. These are not in your folders. Okay, so when we refer to by the field, this is 2 fields. Even though it is 1 section number, this is 2 fields. So for instance, if you have soybeans planted on that 130 acres, say you got 30 acres of soybeans planted and you want to PP the rest to corn, that 2 crop history has to be in that field and the field down in the bottom as well. Okay, let's flip to picture number 2. These, even though they're a half or 3/4, they are all 1 field because you can work end to end and or side to side with your digger down. You'll hear me asking that question of you many, many times. Can you work end to end and side to side? Because I'm afraid what's going to happen, what happens a lot is we sit down, we make these plans, you tell me you are not going to get anything seeded here, and then it dries up on the 1st of June, and you go plant some soybeans out there. Brent?
There's, like, for the PP rules, like, you can't have your digger down, but you have in the past, in the past 4 years, is that still considered one section, or do you have to have 2 different crop histories,
Oh.
last 2 years, or?
Okay, the question is does it have to happen this year with your digger down? Can it have happened in the past? And my answer is always, in a normal farming year, can you work end to end and side to side? I feel there is a big difference between the words washout and permanent ditch, okay? Also, what can get you involved in here is a strip of CRP or something. So you have to be able to work it as one field. I just got, I think, one more field in there. Again, different fields. So keep all that in mind. I wanted to bring that out first because as we go through stuff quickly, I refer to by the field. If you have any questions on whether or not you have a by the field situation, make sure you let me know. Okay, let's look at our folders. I do have to tell you to make one correction already. On the right-hand side, the paper that starts out every farm is unique. I need to have you flip that over to prevent plant in the prairie pothole region. And where it says the acreage must have been planted, harvested, add the words and insured. Yep. Flip, yep, the next page. Yep, right here. Must have been planted, harvested, and insured. Okay. Oh. Okay, added land is a unique situation. When we started out with 2020, they told us it was a possibility that any added land may not be covered for prevent plant. Okay? After a certain period of time, we got a bulletin from RMA that stated that they have lightened up on the rules. I will not stand here today and tell you that 100% any added land will be covered for PP. I think it's going to depend on case-by-case situations. Any added land, I can tell you, has to also qualify for the 2-crop history. If it's new to your operation, you do not have 2-crop history unless you have both those crops planted on that land by field this year. Okay? Okay. Basically, what I'm telling you with my little tip sheet here is that every farm is unique. Don't listen to anybody else because you're probably not getting the whole story. You have to have at least 20 acres or 20% of the acres, and there are situations where even if you have planted in 2 sections, that may not qualify you for an enterprise unit. So what makes me comfortable that I want everyone to do for me is make sure that you have at least 40 acres, 20 acres in 2 sections, 40 acres total, planted to get yourself qualified for an enterprise unit. Specifically, you have to, if you are planning to prevent plant your whole farm to corn, You will not get the enterprise unit discount unless, in my words, you have at least 40 acres planted on 2 or more sections. Last year's corn does not count.
By what date?
Pardon me?
By what date does it have to be planted to qualify for enterprise?
You have the final plant date in your county, and then you have a 25-day late plant period.
Any talk of them extending that? No, nothing yet.
The question is if they're talking about extending the final planting date. I have heard nothing yet. Again, we do have the 25-day late planting period. Okay. By crop. By crop, by county. Yep. Yep. We kind of, I beat to death by the field. So that's my next comment is by the field, okay? Specific questions to your operation, you know, we can answer, you know, with a map in front of us. When you call me and you are asking me questions about your farm, I want a map in front of me and a map in front of you. And I will ask you, how many acres do you already have planted? So when you call, I'm going to be prepared to visit with you specifically about your land, not what you guys talked about at the coffee shop with another guy, because his situation is unique, yours is unique, okay? I have put the prevent plant levels by crop on here as well. I am proud to say that Ihry Insurance did every client we have buy up on prevent plant early. Every single one was accepted. Kudos to our company for working with us, but they prismed everything, made sure that there was not a wet cycle when we were applying for the PP buy-up, etc. Next important thing that you need to know are your bases, by county, by crop. Know what your crop is going to roll to, and if that's acceptable to you. Sometimes you run out of corn base, you run out of edible base. Those are usually the big dollar crops. If your next payment is barley at $35, you may want to change your mind about what you want to plant and prevent plant, okay? Flipping over the page, yep, Josh?
Explain real quick what that base number represents.
Your base, or Josh wants to know what the base represents. Your base is the most acres you've insured of a crop by county in the last 4 years. When we did our sign up this spring, we put all of those in your sign up folders, as well as we put how many dollars you would get by section, your liabilities. If you can't find that, let us know. We'll get it to you again, either email, mail, or in your Dropbox. Okay. Abnormally dry years, prairie pothole region, as far as a crop being planted, they still count. You get paid 4 years in a row. The 5th year that you request prevent plant on any given piece of land, it will be denied. Once it is denied, you have to plant and insure and harvest 2 years in a row to get back in for prevent plant. Okay. You are not required to plant after the final planting date. Okay. Things that will be questioned of you is it general to the area? did you have inputs available for the crop? And what are the weather patterns? The adjusters will be gathering all that information. Okay. Specific to that late planting period is cover crop, and what cover crops you can seed and benefit. Crop insurance doesn't care if you seed a cover crop. FSA and NRCS do. So know if you do or do not have to put cover crop on your prevent plant acres. Cover crop, haying and grazing, or making silage, at this point in time, you cannot do it until after November 1st. Last year, they opened it up earlier. Will they do it this year? Right now, I cannot tell you the answer is yes, okay? You can also prevent plant a crop, receive 35% payment for those PP acres. Then you're going to take a hit on your APH. Those acres are going to be like a loss on your APH. Then you seed and insure that second crop and hay and or graze it prior to November 1st. Okay, so if you do hay and graze, you have to insure it. So you can't make that decision on October 1st that you're gonna silage that corn that you seeded for cover crop, because at that point it would be too late to insure it and you wouldn't meet the provisions. Okay. And last but not least, how claims are worked. You have to turn in a claim. You have to turn in a claim timely. Your insurance agent cannot submit claims on your behalf, okay? So we have to physically, in an audit, we have to physically have some type of record, whether I talked to you on the street, whether you emailed me, texted me, or we talked on the phone, and I can even initiate that, asking you how it's going, and you tell me, oh yeah, we are going to have prevent plant. So above are all the things that we can do to get those claims submitted. You can't submit a prevent plant claim until after the final planting date. Claims won't be worked until your FSA paperwork is at your agent's office, that a signed acreage report has been received, keyed, and approved. You also need to call the FSA office and report prevent plant. Otherwise, they are going to call it idle. Does it make a difference? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on if we get to a point where they change base acres. In the past, when they changed base acres at FSA, if we had acres marked prevent plant crop, they let us use those towards base acres, okay? And the cover crop requirements, we talked about those. So, okay, then also in your folder is a paper with the price selections on it. And on the back of it is how to figure your PP payments by hand. Okay. And then I also have a question and answers about prevent plant and qualifying for enterprise units, as well as flow charts. Okay, guys, that's all I got. If you want to talk about something. Yep, we got Marlon here. I asked Marlon to come. He's the claim supervisor for Diversified. We've been doing this a long time, so.
Good morning.
You got to stand.
Good morning. Yeah, I've been doing this as long as you guys have been farming, I guess. Too long, maybe. I mean, I know it's wet and it's wet every place, and hopefully someday we're gonna get rolling in the field. I think Nancy kind of went over most things or whatever. I guess we want to be able to get you paid if we can with all the rules and this and that. But I guess are there maybe just start out, any questions? No? Well, that was quick.
Out of here.
I guess the main thing there's some things you need to remember, like if you, like on dry beans, you got your rotation, you got crops that you got rotation requirements. You can't prevent planting dry beans on something you planted navy beans last year. So, and basically, your prevent planting is based on the history of what you've done the last 4 years.
The question is, where are we at with added land?
Added land, I guess if it kind of all depends on when you took it over. If you took it over May 1st, it's probably not going to, the condition was already there, but if you took it over January 1st, we'll probably be in good shape. I guess if you do have added land, maybe if there was a chance, maybe that would be, if you could, I would probably plant that one first. Just in case. All the rules, if you take over land that's got standing corn on it, it's probably not going to work. Yeah, if the crop's off, yeah. Added land, it has to, we have to, all the conditions have to, it has to qualify. It just can't say added land is going to work or not. We have to go through all the things, I guess, all the different things. So. Well, if the crop was off in March and you were able to get it worked in April, and then we get 3 inches of rain, yeah, that would, if the weather data would back it up, yeah, then it would work. But if it was just off the first part of May and you took it over, it's probably not going to work. It's not a case-by-case basis. We want to, if things qualify, we want to get it paid. But if they don't, we all got the same rules, or all the companies have the same rules. So.
You have a verbal agreement to take on new land in January, but don't have a contract written up until March or April. What can you do to justify that you had it in January in place? Does that help on determination of new land addition?
Repeat the question.
If you had a verbal agreement back in January to take over the land, I guess I would have, you could write a statement and have you both sign it, and I guess we would, I would think that would work. I'm not a lawyer, so, but I guess if you got a handshake, I guess, but if you both agree that, yeah, back on January 5th, I agreed to rent my land, I think you'd be okay. Be safe.
Well, if there are no other questions, I guess we'll end there. Thank you for coming again. Be safe, obviously, and hopefully this weather is going to cooperate with whatever we're going to get done here with the rest of the spring. Again, this recording will be available as a YouTube video, and we'll get that link out to you so you can go back and watch it or share it with anybody, neighbors or whatever. So, again, want to thank Whitney for recording this session for us and KRJB, and kind of a last-minute notice. Thank you as well. Thanks for coming.